Okay, welcome everyone again to this session on the Global AgriFood TechPreneur Programme 6-week interactive section on mindset. This is a 6-week interactive course on entrepreneurship, tech, and sustainability in the food system, which forms a very key part of the Global AgriFood TechPreneur Programme. So it's really important for us to keep reminding ourselves why we are doing and engaging with the Global AgriFood TechPreneur Programme. We are doing this because we've seen a gap in the food system. 1 in 5 that is linked to malnutrition, which means that most people don't have access to food at all, or they have access to consuming the wrong nutritional value in food. So because of that, we know that it's important for people to rethink the way they engage with the food system, so that they can take on the required nutritional requirement for their body and consider the food they're eating as a source of nutrition to help them improve their health. And food is medicine. Food as medicine is a key aspect of ours, enabling ourselves to live a healthier and better life. And also, we know that over 900 million people are hungry globally. 1.9 billion people are currently overweight, and over 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted. The 33% of earth soil is being degraded. We just can't continue with the system we have, where we are exploiting the natural resources. We're producing so much, we're wasting so much, and in the midst of all this, a lot of people don't have access to food at all, or they do not have access to the right nutrition to improve their health. So we need to change this, and this is why we are engaging in the Global AgriFood TechPreneur Programme. We're engaging with international organizations, we're engaging with countries, the member states within the UN, to see how we can support, how we can help with improving access to good food to more people. So today we're going to be talking about mindset. Well, for us to really have the right mindset, we need to understand ourselves, and this is what we call self-awareness. How do we understand ourselves? Who are we? And by understanding ourselves, we can then be in a good position to interpret our actions, feelings, and thoughts, and how that really connects with our values. So a very thorough understanding of who we are, what we value as individuals, as societies, as organizations, as a business is very important for us to be able to build the right mindset to deliver and ensure that the way we produce food, the way we distribute food, and the way we consume food will help improve the health of people, will help improve our environment, and will not continue to support the kind of broken food system we have today. So self-awareness is very important, understanding our actions, our feelings and thoughts, and how these align with our values, both as individuals, as organization and business, and also within the wider society in which we find ourselves. Now, when we talk about values, values could vary. What exactly is your value as an individual, as a business, and also within the wider society you engage? So first of all, it's looking at these key values and ask yourself, which of these top 5 values resonate strongly with me, and also resonate strongly with my business, and also could deliver value for my society. So it's important to have that clarity, and if possible, let that form part of the slogan you have, or part of the the message you communicate to the stakeholders that you engage with, your employees, the people that you work with, your supply chain, your investors, let people that come across you have a link and a connection with these values you have, both as an individual, as a business, and also within the remit of the wider society that you are part of. So it's very important to identify your top 5 values and ensure that whatever you're doing aligns with these top values. And this is how you start developing your self-awareness, because then you can start understanding, okay, this is really what drives what I do. This is a core value that my business stands for. This is something we want to make sure that anyone that comes across our organization, anyone that engages with us in doing business, we appreciate about us as an organization. And building the business on these core values are very important, because it helps to strengthen an understanding for everyone who engage with your business, to know, okay, what we want to make sure is that everyone that comes across us feels a sense of the compassion that flows from our business. Then that's one thing you want to, be able to create environment to ensure that that sense of compassion is being passed across in your message, and as well as also in the way you engage with stakeholders when you are working with them. Is really important to have these key values resonating, not just for you, but also for anyone that comes across a business. So I'm sure that we did go through this when we went through the Royal Bank of Scotland Business Builder platform. I'm sure that we have taken the time to list these 5 core values, and I'm hoping that as we move on with our businesses, and especially when we move on to the phase of the business plan, we will be able to demonstrate these core values in our discussions, in our presentations, and also build that into our activities to demonstrate these core values. So to be able to establish this self-awareness, there are some self-assessment tools, because what these self-assessment tools does is that they help you to think through the team that you have. At the end of the day, you want to ensure that you've got a team that are complementary to each other. So you don't want to have a group of people who have exactly the same set of well, you want people to have the right mindset, but when it comes to self-awareness, you begin to identify the fact that people have different strengths as individuals. Some people are more organizers, some people are more planners. So you want to make sure that, and some people are more kind of advocacy type, so they're good in communication and reaching out. They can do planning very well. But you have other people who can plan very well and not really good in communicating and really reaching out in advocacy. So people that can put in a lot of strength and manpower in terms of delivering the project, but not very good in mental and strategic planning. So you need to identify the strength of everyone in your team and know how you place them to be able to achieve the right value for you. You as the entrepreneur, you as the leader of the company, you cannot do everything. If you really want your agri-food business to grow, you cannot be the jack of all trade. You must be able to delegate responsibilities to people and let them take on responsibilities and run with it. And the only way you can do it is by understanding that people have different strengths, and then pulling people with different strength, complementary strength, together to work with you to be able to take the business forward. For example, you need people who are going to be doing operational work. We're doing a lot of work at the moment trying to bring in technology advancement into agri-food production. But in the meantime, with local food production, there's a lot of operational activities and local effort that has to put in. Yes, we need to have people who can do that, but you also need to have people who can manage your stakeholder engagement, your supply chain. Where do you buy your seed from? Who do you sell your produce to? How do you sell your produce to them? You as the leader of the company cannot do everything. There are certain aspects of these things that you can do, but you need to be able to bring this 2 or 3 other people. One, managing your finances, making sure You have money to pay people. You're paying people when they need to be paid. You know your supply chain, when they need to be paid and what needs to be done. You need to have somebody who manages your legal activities. You need to register your company. You need to make sure you meet the legal requirements for your business, your tax returns, and whatever legal requirement that needs to make sure your business is thriving. You need to have people who manages your customer engagement, your stakeholder engagement, making sure that you have people supplying your materials, people supplying your equipment, people buying your produce, when this needs to be moved on, when it needs to be delivered. A lot of these activities has to be planned, and people need to lead on all these things. So that's the importance of understanding people within your organization, understanding yourself. You need to ask yourself, what are the things I know I really love to do and I find a lot easier to do? Then you take on those responsibilities and you identify those ones that you know you have challenges with, and you say, no, what, I need to bring people on board who can work with me to deliver these. So this is really where you then begin to assign responsibilities to people, and this is where you need to have an agreement with people, how they engage with the establishment and how they work with you. There's opportunity here to actually engage, especially with food production facility, engage a lot of people who are, unemployed within the community. It's supposed of them to have a source of a way to access food to eat, and be able to contribute to the farm. And as the farm becomes financially viable, you're able to start paying them some money for their contribution to the farm. So there's a lot of ways you can arrange to be able to support your local community, especially where there's a massive unemployment, that people can start developing skills. So people can come in and develop skill, and they can move on to be able to set up their own farm, or they continue to work with you, and when you're financially viable, you can start paying them for the time they put in the farm. And it's about thinking strategically and having the right people working with you to know when these things has to be done. One of the things that came out from the Kerry Group case study was the fact that they focus on graduate recruitment, because that's a very good way for them to bring in the best of the best at a very early stage, to engage them with the activities of the company, and then they grow in the company and become managers. So you need to define for your agri-food business, what is your strategy? How do you want to grow your agri-food business? And how do you engage with different stakeholders? You're quite privileged to be able to engage with the World Food Tracker with regards to the material supply, the equipment supply. We're trying to make all this process a lot easier for you within the platform, and we're hoping that will, remove some of the workload from you, so you can focus on the primary activity you're doing. So that's some of the values we bring in through the World Food Tracker platform. But ultimately, you need to understand yourself, you need to understand your team, and you need to be able to delegate responsibly to them. So once you're able to dedicate to people, you need to monitor and support them by developing the right mindset to engage with their activities. So for you to do that, you need to understand the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. So fixed mindset revolves around what these mindsets revolve around belief and focus. So belief in the sense that you believe in yourself that I can't continue to grow, or you just have this belief that I can't even grow anymore. I don't think I'm of any good, and this is just the much I can do. That is where the fixed mindset comes in. And also, when it comes to focus, it's about focus talks about approach. How do you go about? So assuming that you believe in yourself, I can do this. So focus talks about approach. So how do you try to establish that growth mindset? So for someone that has a growth mindset, the person believes that the process can be improved, how things are done can be improved. Why someone that's got a fixed mindset think that no, this is supposed to be the outcome, this is supposed to be the result of this. If it's not that way, then it's not working. But I think with someone that's got a growth mindset, they think differently. So fixed mindset and growth mindset depends on two key principles, which is belief and focus. So your belief, is just what it is, the mindset, what you're believing, So if you believe that you can grow, that means you've got a fixed mindset. That means the chances that you're going to grow is very difficult. If you have a growth mindset, you have this bigger vision of growth, that you can grow, and there's potential you can grow. And then how you grow means that you believe that processes can be improved, so you can grow. And then it simply means that you believe that the end goal can actually be shifted depending on where you are in your process, so that you can still see yourself growing, rather than thinking, because I've not achieved this, like a fixed mindset, that means I'm no good. Now, when you come down again into fixed mindset and growth mindset, there's ways that the fixed mindset person or the growth mindset person tries to measure themselves. So they measure themselves in terms of efforts they put in. With growth mindset, I can do it more, I can put in more effort, I can stretch myself, I believe this can be done. But the fixed mindset will go like, no way, this can't be done, and I can't be bothered. And that's not a very good thing for a business. Then you have the feedback. When it comes to feedback, a growth mindset will see a feedback as an opportunity to do better. So, but a fixed mindset will think that you are being very that the feedback you're giving them is more like telling them they can't improve and they can't make progress, rather than looking in terms of what information, what strength can they derive from the feedback, what can they do better based on the feedback. So with a growth mindset, they think positively about the feedback. They see it as being constructive, and the fact that they can improve. With a fixed mindset, is more like they feel that they've let you down, and they feel they can be nobody, and they just don't want to bother themselves anymore to do anything better. With regard to mistakes, with a growth mindset, someone that's got a growth mindset will always strive to overcome mistakes and be better. With a fixed mindset, once they make a mistake, that is the end of the world. They just don't think they should have made mistake in the first place, because they made mistake. They just don't see themselves improving from the mistake. And with challenges, it's similar. Growth mindset sees challenges as opportunities. Fixed mindset, they see challenges as barriers. So with these points, it helps you also to not just about understanding the natural intrinsic values of people within your team, but also helping them to say, although you are here, I believe you can move to this point, and by creating that awareness, by helping them make that transition, where there's an opportunity for someone to take on a growth mindset, they can take on. But I think it's also important to know that there are times that people may not just be growth mindset, or they might not just be fixed mindset, they might just be in the middle, just because of circumstances around them at that moment. So we can also appreciate the fact that naturally, or most of the time, you're not a growth mindset person or a fixed mindset person. You kind of mediate between fixed mindset and growth mindset, depending on activities that are around you. So there's some activities that can stretch you so much and pin you to the wall that you develop this fixed mindset. But if you are self-aware, if you understand your role as a leader, then you can actually pick up quite quickly and get into the growth mindset and move on again. So in terms of fixed mindset, you have things like blames, excuses, denials. People don't take responsibility. People are not accountable. People don't take ownership of the tasks assigned to them. It's difficult to really work with people like that. They can be quite frustrating, but as a leader, you will learn to manage people. But I think if you have too much of a fixed mindset in your establishment, it becomes a struggle, because the tendency is that they will always put blames on people, give excuses, and they'll deny even the actions they've taken. You need more of growth mindset within your organization. People who can take ownership, who can hold themselves accountable, and who can be responsible for the actions they've taken, and say, you know what, I did this wrong. I understand where I've made a mistake, and I'm working towards overcoming them in the future. So the mindset and inner critic. So you do have to criticize yourself most of the time to understand where you have challenges and where you can improve on. So normally, this inner critic comes up sometimes to challenge you as someone that's got a growth mindset. If you are a people pleaser, a perfectionist, you want it to be perfect. It has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, then it's not going to go through. At times, as an entrepreneur, you need to, so you set up your hypothesis, you need to try your hypothesis, so you don't need to make it absolutely perfect. You need to get it to the minimum required product so they can try that with people, get feedback, and then improve on it. Some people are diminishers, so you get this inner critic asking you whether you are diminishing things and not making things progress, whether you just keep pushing things on people without really making it measurable and actionable and deliverable, and whether you're an imposter and trying to impose things on people or make people feel you or make yourself feel that you can't really you can't really do it. You've got this imposter syndrome of no, I can't do it. I can't really make it work. So this inner critic comes up even when you have the growth mindset, and when you identify your key inner critic, you are better able to manage them when they start displaying themselves, especially when you're engaging with other people or when you're trying to deliver a particular value. So the question we need to keep asking ourselves is, how do we respond to change? Because event plus reaction gives you an outcome. So whatever event you come across, how you respond, how you react to that event will determine the outcome you're going to get. As a leader, someone who is an entrepreneur, who's going to be managing people, you need to develop your emotional intelligence, which is all about understanding yourself, being self-aware, and being able to manage people and really make the best use of every event so that the outcome becomes positive for you. Yep. So this is the next case study, raw farm. This is a bee keeping farm, and we'll be sharing details for that with you, and hopefully do review that, and we'll have that case study discussion next week. These are the reflection questions for the farm. Just a quick recap again. If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. We need to plan to save food, health, environment, and wealth.